Welcome back to Her Life Fully Lived. Today we are talking about something so many of us go through, yet so few of us talk about openly: menopause and how it ripples through our relationships, not just our bodies. My guest today is Saireen Neilsen, a Vancouver-based entrepreneur and the founder of Loving Menopausitivity, a coaching program designed to help women feel strong, healthy, sexy, I like that, and thriving through menopause and beyond. Sareen takes a holistic approach, mind, body, and spirit. And she's here to help us understand not just what's happening to us during this transition, but what's happening between us and the people we love. Sareen, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Anya, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm also so excited about this topic. It's fantastic. And when I read sexy and menopause, my mind made this is not possible. So I don't,
Let me tell you,
yeah,
it can be possible. And it's just
yeah,
what we put meaning to, my love, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, absolutely. So out of all the life stages you could have specialized in, why menopause specifically? And what drew you to this particular chapter of a woman's life?
That's a very good question, Anya. I ask myself all the time. But seriously, I spent 10 years dealing with severe menopausal symptoms. I
Oh,
had
wow.
hot flashes,
Yeah.
night sweats, insomnia, brain fog. My hair was falling out and I gained 20 pounds. And I was like, what is going on here?
Oh God, yeah.
And I couldn't even recognize the person I saw in the mirror. And I thought to myself, if
Mm.
I couldn't love myself, how could I expect my husband to love me? And thought my best years have passed me by. And I thought I felt uncomfortable. I knew it wasn't me and I needed to do things differently. And definitely, I did not want to push him away because the way I was feeling about myself.
Yeah, I can relate. One wants to hide. I wanted to hide. I just wanted to get through it somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. And that is one of the reasons I spent a lot of time, money, and energy looking for relief and quick fixes.
And apparently you found it.
Yes. Yes.
So women go through so many hormonal shifts throughout life. PMS, our monthly cycle, pregnancy, postpartum. What makes menopause different from all of those?
Well, I feel that menopause is PMS 10 times. Like it gets revved up. And I feel that when you're going through having a cycle and you're going through PMS, at least you can regulate that in some ways. You can see it on the calendar, what's happening
Exactly.
to your body.
Yeah.
Day 10, 11 is when you're actually going to get pregnant, ovulating. You know that just the week before your period, progesterone levels drop.
Mm.
So then, and at the same time, what would be important, and I wish I knew this back then, is that the foods that we eat, the things that we put in our body matters and
Mm.
affects the way we feel. And the mood swings are crazy, and you're thinking, well, it's just internal, but it's the things that you put in your body that makes you react. And it's also the stress that comes with it too.
Yeah, and this also plays a role when it comes to menopause, right?
Absolutely. So when I work with my clients, I make sure we have a journal and we talk about what are the foods that you're eating? What are the things that you're
Mm.
putting in your body? What are your thoughts? And what kind of stress are you going through?
Mm.
And what were you thinking just 5 minutes before you had a hot flash
Mm.
or 5 minutes before you felt the menopausal symptoms? All those things matter because when you know how to prepare for and manage your symptoms,
Mm.
anything is possible.
So you found apparently a strategy to get rid of these symptoms just by focusing on the things you put in your body?
Those are one of several things,
Okay.
but it's a lot of factors that
Mm.
play.
Mm.
As we don't account for the things around us, the environment, the mold, and the antibiotics that we're putting in our system or what we're eating. It's just normal that we go to a grocery store and you're going, oh, I'm going to pick up these vegetables or I'm going to eat this meat, and that's wonderful. And it can be wonderful, but it depends on how it was raised. And that's one of the reasons why when I was doing my research, I was turned off by certain things. And I thought, I'm going with grass-fed finished meat, and I'm going with wild salmon. I'm going to have organic. And even if you can grow it yourself, that would be kind of fun too.
This is so true. Loving Menopausitivity takes a holistic approach, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Why was it important for you to include the spiritual piece?
I believe that how we feed our mind is important. Being mindful is huge because there are times when we put a lot of effort into pleasing everyone else and we forget of ourselves. And if we forget something, then we're beating ourselves up. And also that affects how we show up. Stress and being busy are two huge factors that make a huge impact in our lives and on our body. So once we are kinder, come from a compassionate and more nurturing view, it's a lot better. And if you do that for yourself, then people can see that when you're in front of them and you're having a lovely conversation because you're coming from a pure heart, not from a place of stress and uncertainty. And I'm like, and being present is huge because sometimes you're ladies, when we're busy, we have to go pick up something and you lose your train of thought. You're not being present. You're on to the next thing. And socializing is huge when you're going through menopause. It's important to talk to people about going through menopause because it's fun. It should be fun. It's like, did you have that symptom? Yeah, I did. I had a hot flash and I needed to change my clothes. I had to run into the bathroom, or, I was sweating and I had to fix my makeup. And there's so many things that we just take so seriously, but at the time it feels so compounded. It feels like a huge emotion. Feels as if it's the end of the world and people are judging me. And the truth of the matter is, you're only judging you.
Yeah, this is
And
so
people,
true. I will
and
always
people,
remember I was in a group of we had a yoga retreat, and it was in Greece, and wonderful women, and all of a sudden, I don't know why, I started about menopause and the symptoms, and they looked at me, oh, she dares to talk about it, and they were so relieved, they were so happy afterwards, and thanked me afterwards because, of course, it's yeah, every woman goes through it, right?
exactly. And it makes them feel like they're not alone.
Yeah.
We may not have all the same symptoms,
Mm.
but we're going through this similar transition.
For one woman it can be very severe or dealing with very severe symptoms, and others it's easier. So is it really our lifestyle that makes it sometimes so difficult? So when we have a lot of stress, when we put a lot of, when we maybe also physical movement plays a role, right?
Absolutely. When I was 40, I hired a personal trainer
Mm.
because I was feeling blah. I had a miscarriage when I was 39, and I was determined that when I hit 40, I was going to do things differently,
Hmm.
and because I didn't like the weight gain that I had after that.
Hmm.
And I was beating myself up at that point, going, okay, you know what? I need to do something differently. I don't like the way I feel. I don't like the way I look. And hormones played a lot of role in that as well. And I was comparing myself to other people, which, ladies, we don't need to. It's our own personal journey, and we get to create a life that we love, And when I hired a personal trainer, I was toned, I was healthy. It was the healthy component that I wanted. So I was weightlifting, I was running, I was also, for fun, I was pole dancing. So I felt amazing. I felt alive. And then later on, around 44, 45, perimenopause hit, and I didn't even know perimenopause was a thing. No one talked about it. No one, and you're like, I'm having some symptoms, but I'm not going through menopause because I still have my cycle. What's going on
Mm,
here? And even then, when I went to see my doctor, about certain
mm,
symptoms, they did not relate it to estrogen being
mm,
decreased or
mhm,
perimenopause or menopause.
mm,
So that was really devastating. I was misdiagnosed. It was frustrating for me. And
mm,
so after I did my research and found out that also the exercises that I used to do was not working for where I was during
mhm.
perimenopause and menopause. So I learned to do things differently.
So you talked a little bit about the symptoms you had when you went through menopause. Are there also symptoms, they're very rare symptoms that normally people don't relate to menopause?
Yes, our bodies start changing as soon as the
Mm,
estrogen and the progesterone levels decrease. Funny, we don't relate to, oh my gosh, I can't see anymore after our classes. And yes and no, it's part of aging process, but it's also the decrease of estrogen too.
okay.
And the other things are like elasticity, collagen in our face. We
Mm,
know that there's wrinkles. That has to do, again, with estrogen and
mm,
progesterone. Then we're looking at your teeth. We think about muscle mass and bone density. We think about it in our bodies. Oh my gosh, I feel weak. I have tightness and I can't move as much as I like to. I don't have the flexibility. But also, we lose bone mass in our mouth. So it's important to talk to your dentist about those things
mm,
because how we take care of our teeth is important.
yeah.
And the bacteria that goes through it is
Mm,
important. We want to make sure that we're taking care of every aspect of our lives
mm,
and in our body too. So when
mm,
you're starting from your eyes, your hearing might be a little bit different off.
mhm.
Your mouth is dry. Then besides your mouth being dry, something else dries up too. Down there. And those are things that women don't like to talk about because
Mm,
they feel like there's something wrong with them when there's
mm,
nothing wrong with them.
mm,
It's just a process that they're going through,
mm.
but they need to ask the right questions to the right doctor.
So, what did you find? What is the remedy here,
Okay.
Saireen?
So
What would you
remedy,
say to a woman who is just in the middle of menopause and doesn't know what to do? So she needs to find the right doctor, you said?
yes, I was seeing a functional medicine specialist. I saw a gynecologist, saw a naturopath,
Okay,
and my physician, and they all gave me like HRT, medication, supplements, and remedies. And
okay.
because I was so desperate. And at
Mm-hmm.
the timing was that I was overlapping them. And when I took these remedies, I was starting to have side effects instead of relief. And
Mm,
that's what scared me the most. So I realized I need to see one person and go through a process with them. In Vancouver, sometimes our doctors only see us for 10 minutes, right? And we're not able to ask the right questions because certain things are covered under our insurance. And so you want to get your blood test tested. So certain women have come to me and said, actually, I'm interested in HRT. And now in Vancouver, the insurance companies cover them, most of them. But not everyone's a candidate, and it's not all a fast fix. If you go into HRT, there's no guarantee that you're going to feel wonderful the next day. They don't know that they need to check their dosages.
mm,
It's going to take a long period of time.
yeah.
And you have to take all these tests before you should get onto HRT. Do you have cancer in your family? What kind? Do you have breast, cervical? And you want to know whether or not you are a good candidate. Then you have to go through the process of doing the tests, whether it's a urine test, blood
Mm,
test, and then finally, then you can make an educated guess. But you have to know that it's a process and it's not a quick fix.
yeah.
So some people will try the HRT and it'll work just like that. Some people will be on HRT, they can't feel anything for 3 to 6 months, and then they're like, oh, it doesn't work. and then they take the wrong dosaging.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the fun part, which is like a roller coaster. You're being, 1 minute you're feeling really good, or 1 minute you're really low, or you're having too much emotion. That's one of the routes to go. The other natural way to go is seeing a functional medicine specialist or a naturopath. And what I found is that they have alternative remedies. So certain things we think that we can use orally or sublingual. Certain things you can have creams like progesterone, you can put it topical. And then there's some things down there that's normal to use and insert into your vagina. And so those are the things that you can ask. And those are things that you can talk about and say, hey, what are the side effects, right? Are there any? What's the best time to use them? How is this going to affect me? All these questions you have to ask why and what's going to happen.
Yeah, there's not one fix for everyone, right? We are all different. And as you said before, stress plays a big role in it. What's the biggest shift you see in a woman's relationship with her partner once menopause symptoms start showing up?
I think the biggest part is women know that they're going through a change. The body's not the same. They're not feeling desirable, but at the same time, their libido drops. When you find awareness or like, okay, I need to find something. I know my body is not functioning the same way it used to be. And that's the important thing, is not to compare yourself where you're at right now to where you used to be.
It's a difficult part.
I know, but once you go, okay, I'm in the present moment and this is how I'm feeling. And then you go, and then you have a courageous conversation. First of all, actually bring awareness. If you're going through perimenopause and menopause, you talk to your husband right away. You sit him down and say, honey, I need your support. I'm going through these changes. It affects me physically, spiritually, emotionally. I don't mean to like have big emotions and being on a roller coaster, but I need you to understand that I need your support through this. And this is what I'm going through right now. And I would love for you to support me because, when I'm having a hot flash, I would love a cold glass of water or a fan near me, or if I am going through a big emotion, ask me if I need a hug, instead of walking away and go rolling your eyes, here she goes again, like, and so when you have kids, you don't want the kids to see that either. Mom needs a loving hug. Mom is going through something and we just need to support her through it, and it's funny how as adults, if we have kids, you're compassionate, that they're going through hormone changes, and so you support them the best way you can. So why can't you ask them to support you where you're at as well?
That's such a good point, Saireen. It comes down to awareness. We need to be aware what is going on in our bodies, what is shifting right now, and what we need. And this is not so easy.
Awareness is huge. And that's why I have a questionnaire for people to fill out, because it's something that they may not see, but they can feel it.
Yeah.
Like something's not right with me. My body's betraying. My body's betraying me. But that's not true. Your body is trying to tell you something. It's going through a change and needs your support, right? And your compassion. Because ladies, when we go through things, we're like, you have to fix myself. I have to hurry up and do this, and this. And you don't have to. So once you know what's happening, you're going through some changes, then ask for support and go, okay, I'm going to go see this doctor because I know this doctor knows about menopause or hormones, and then it's not just about HRT because our hormones are affected by epigenetics, and which is our surroundings, like I mentioned earlier. It's what we eat, what the environment, the smoke, the mold, things that we can see and things that we can't see, things, clothes that we put on affects everything. Makeup, skincare, if there's formaldehyde, it's going to seep through your skin. All these things that we never thought about in the past. And it's stacking up. And so when we hit our perimenopause and menopausal stage, or like my hormones are kind of out, but it's not overnight,
Yeah.
and it's not everything that we eat or drink.
I would almost say it's like a consequence of the life we have led so far, right? Now the body
Yes.
doesn't want to, it says stop. I don't want it anymore. I need a change. So the disconnect that sometimes happens in a couple, how can they close it? By really talking about it, by communicating better?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. You know, like I mentioned
Mm,
about exercise,
mm,
what used to work worked then, and now we're going through menopause, and what you get to create what that intimacy looks like. So it's about communication, and it's about, I know you're going to go through a change, talking to your husband, going, you're going to go through andropause, your body's going to change. You may not be able to function the way you used to.
mhm,
And so neither am I. So let's figure out how we can please ourselves through this process. And it doesn't have to be a certain way.
mm,
You get to create what that looks like. You get to create the passion. So go on a date night, have fun, but
mm,
coming home, it's either holding hands, sitting on the couch for a bit. It's either just kissing and just being in the state, being in that moment of pure love
mm,
with an unconditional love, and then there's other things that you may get into, and there's other types of stimulation. But at the same time, you still could ask your naturopath or your a functional medicine specialist,
mm,
what can I use for
mm,
getting moist,
mhm,
right? Or stimulation.
mhm,
And maybe it could be a movie, it could
mhm,
be, something fun. It's just you get to create what that looks like,
mm.
as opposed to based on the past.
This is so good, so good. So, and this is causing this feeling of sexy, right? And thriving
Yes,
through menopause. Yeah,
absolutely. So put on your sexy dress,
yeah.
ladies. Put your makeup on,
Mhm,
or not.
mm,
You know what makes you feel sexy. Do it
mm,
for yourself.
mm,
Dress in a way that you're like feeling alive, and then go out there.
mm,
It's that physical touch. I love
mm.
holding my husband's hand when we
Yeah.
walk, and we've been together for 40 years. And to me, and then the way we hug each other first thing in the
Mm,
morning, I could smell
mm,
him.
mm,
When I hug him in the morning and I
mm,
nestle into his neck,
mm,
that gets me started in the
mm,
morning. It's like, oh, that's
mm,
my ritual,
mm,
after I do my meditation and everything.
mhm,
And I have a piece of him throughout the day. And so and sexy is what you create
mm,
and the meaning that you give to it.
mm,
It doesn't have to be, oh my God, I have to look a certain way,
mm,
dress a certain way,
mm,
smell a certain way,
mm,
shave my legs.
mm,
I don't know. Time to time. It's the meaning that you give to it. You
mm,
get to create that, and you can create a language between the two of you that is it's your special love language. What does that look like?
mm,
And so it doesn't have to be based on a movie that you see on TV,
mm.
or based on your neighbor's life, comparison to. Just take one day at a time and just go, I need this. And instead of saying I need this, I want this. So be clear of what you want, and how you want to express them to support you
Mhm.
and speak to you.
So, if a woman listening today feels like menopause is quietly pulling her and her partner apart, what's one small first step you'd recommend she take this week?
First of all, I would ask myself, do I love myself? It starts with loving yourself
Mm,
first. And it's all about giving you what you need, which is sometimes taking a shower, putting on something that makes you feel good, compliment yourself, you know, talk to yourself. It's like, you know, I'm going through a transition. I know I'm not what I used to be, but I love my hair. I love the way you smile, Saireen. I love the way you laugh. I see you. And from that compassionate place, then you can have a conversation with your spouse, your partner, and say, you know what? I'm going through a change and I would love for you to support me. And I don't know what that looks like right now, but we'll figure it out together. Because if you don't share what's going on and it's still a taboo subject, he's thinking it's all about him. It's a miscommunication. This is where the miscommunication comes from. You're hiding from him. He thinks he's not being loved. He's thinking you're not communicating. There's something off. And it's automatically people think it's me. And so he's like, I don't know what's going on with you. So if he's not going to find love with you, he's going to find love with someone else. And that's where the middle age crisis comes from, ladies. And we don't want that. We don't want to be pushed away. We want him to be fully in our journey.
This is such a good piece of advice. This is what we very often forget as women, that we are not asking ourselves, do I love myself? We want something from the outside, but we are not sure if we can love ourselves.
Sometimes it's conditional. It's like if I look a certain way, then I love myself more. If I could do this, then I'm so much more. Well, what if you're perfect and you're enough the way you are?
Exactly. Saireen, thank you so much for this conversation. Also for your honesty and for reminding us that menopause isn't something to just get through quietly. It's something we can move through with connection, confidence, and even joy. So, where can people find you? Do you have a gift for my listeners here?
I definitely have a gift, and it's called the SLIM Method Guide. And what SLIM is an acronym, it has nothing to do with weight loss, by the way. And so S stands for self-care. What makes you lit up? How do you want to look after yourself? L is loving yourself. Tell yourself 3 things that you love about yourself every single day. I is about taking the inspired action from a place of love and compassion from yourself. And M is for mindfulness. And what are the things you're telling yourself? What are the conversations are you having? Are you talking about from a place of in the past programming where what used to work for you or what you were told? Because we are redefining menopause, ladies, and it's not, you don't have to suffer like your mother. You don't have to do anything except for looking after yourself. Pause and ask yourself if this is something that you would love, it brings you joy, and how can you share that with others, as opposed to having a meaning with about menopause being a taboo subject and hiding from it. Ladies, don't pause the best parts of your life. Enjoy every bit of it.
This is a wonderful gift, Saireen. I will link it in the description box below. And also, I did this menopausitivity test yesterday or questionnaire you sent me. And it was so interesting what kind of questions are in there. Can we link it also in the description box for our listeners?
Yes, absolutely. Because sometimes we're not aware and we don't know what we don't know. And so we think that because I'm having this symptom, it may not be related to something else. But also, if you're having the symptom, it could relate to so many other things as well. But this is a starting point. You need to measure where you're at and enjoy the process.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you again, Saireen. Fantastic insight today. So, my dear listeners, if today's episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to check out Saireen's work. You also offer a free discovery call, right?
I do.
And a supportive community of like-minded women. Fantastic, because we really need to come together as a community, right? Especially when it comes to menopause.
Absolutely. I believe in sharing and I believe in a safe place that we could talk about anything, because women who are going through this don't want to be judged. They just want to be seen, heard, and understood.
Okay, and as always, subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a woman in your life who needs to hear it. Until next time, take care of yourself. This is Her Life Fully Lived.
Thank you, Anya.
Thank you, Saireen.